There. So they made the draft, but they're not in game yet. Guess they need a few minutes or something. Thanks, Vivifan. That's assuming that these guys are actually playing right now. I see the draft, but I don't see any lobby or anything. No records on AoE2.net. Just gonna be here refreshing the lobby like an idiot until I guess these guys either start or I just get tired of waiting. Whichever comes first. Yeah. Favre Forever, a lot of Shek happened maybe just a couple hours earlier than I was comfortable kind of getting up in order to be able to cast, so unfortunately I had to skip out on them. Alright, there we go. So we'll just take one last look at the draft. So Bondiola, aka Akampichli, banned Turks and Burmese, and you got Malay, Italians, Burgundians, Mines, and Slavs for himself. Burgundians got sniped. For IanG, or just Ian, I guess I'll call him. Banned Britons and Teutons, pretty classic bands. Got Bohemians, Aztecs, which got sniped. Portuguese, Saracens, and Byzantines. Actually, this is like almost exactly the draft I had against Rex on Monday. The only difference, I think, was I had Ethiopians, I think. Yeah, Ethiopians, I think, might have replaced Aztecs. Yeah, overall, I'd say he definitely has the advantage in the draft. Although, not by much. I mean, Bondiola has some decent civs himself. It's just a couple of them are kind of duds compared to what Ian has. I think Mayans are not particularly good. Although they can match up decently against, like, Portuguese. And I guess can go even with Byzantine, even-ish with Byzantines, depending on how they're played out. But I mean, Mayans, I think, are on a clock up versus Byzantines. Like, if they can't pressure them out quickly enough, the Skirm and Cataphract army comes out, and then basically no Meso-civilization is able to stand up to Byzantines. Slavs is decent, although I feel all of Ian's Civ should be able to just pressure the heck out of Slavs. So I think, yeah, just overall Civ-wise, I think Ian has the advantage here. So let's see what is the first matchup we're going to see. Malay versus Saracens. Interesting one. Maybe I should turn down the sounds just a little bit. Fog War re-enabled. So we have relatively close rush distance. We're kind of diagonals facing toward each other. So you got IanG on the right, or just Ian, I think I'll call him, on the right, in purple as the Saracens, and on the left side we have Bondiola. What was his, Roloko, I think. I guess I'm a little kind of debating about what exactly I should call him, but Roloko, I think, might be just a little bit easier to say. Yeah, this is game one. I was able to catch them. They made their draft, and there's like a big, like, 5-6 minute gap in between before they actually launched the lobby and launched the game, so... And I was able to catch them. So we have... And so, sorry. Ian on the right side of the map, in the purple as the Saracens, we have Bondiola, aka Roloko, in the blue on the left side as the Malay. So strange. It doesn't feel like I've actually... It feels like the music is just louder all of a sudden. D has this weird thing where it happens. It's like, all of a sudden, audio can sound a lot louder, or a lot more quiet, just out of nowhere for me for some reason, even though I haven't tampered with any of the audio settings. It's very strange. But whatever. Talking about the matchup, first talking about the maps. We got a very nice map here for Roloko here in the blue. We got back main gold, back main stone, of course. Forward secondary golds and forward secondary stone to be expected. It's just how these arena generations work now. So, but yeah, this is about... The only way this map could be safer is if this secondary gold were actually in the back as well, but you can't really complain too much about it. Right side, though, for Ian, he is not so lucky. His map is quite a bit worse. Two of his golds, as well as both his stones, are forward. So getting pressured here could be a death sentence for him. He does at least have... His saving grace, though, is he does have a secondary gold in the back, so he could make something happen, even if he were to get pressured. Both these civs are civs that can, like, go for just YOLO monks in their own ways. Saracens abusing the market in order to get up to Castle Age super quickly, and then maybe further market abuse to get their monasteries down and monks out. Malay just you can go for 26 plus 2, and you sell your stone. You can be up to Castle Age at like before 13 minutes, and you can just yeah, it's you can just do a very speedy monk rush there. So if that's the kind of pressure I think Ian could be under, but to be fair, I have not really seen Roloko's kind of a playstyle or anything, so I have no idea if he's like an actually aggressive player. But judging by his build so far, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, if you were doing some YOLO strategy, I think He would have held back on the wood production a little bit, maybe one less villager. Well, halbs are only one counter to elephants, right? I mean, Saracens have excellent monks. Mamelukes can shred elephants, especially elephants as weak as Malay. And in any case, they have good ranged units. Arbs, heavy cav archers, those should shred Malay elephants. So, and that's just how Age of Empires works, right? You never want to rely on just one single unit. If you're gonna, you can go for a core unit, but you need supporting army behind that. So, I mean, if you're brave enough to go elephants, you might want to have like skirms or arbs behind them in order to support, because they're going to fall like flies otherwise. So both are on the way up to feudal age. Ah, my god. Time for a little rant. Bondiola or Roloko here is going for a very, very outdated strategy with Malay. He's going for a feudal boom as Malay, going ecotex. And I could write an entire essay about why I believe this is just a very bad strategy, especially nowadays on DE. But, I mean, the real logic behind going for this type of strategy was only applicable on Vubli, where everyone and their mothers were basically trushing, like, almost every single game. And the fact that Malay could up so quickly is that if you were getting trushed, you could just very easily defend. You might even be up to feudal age even before the trusher, and at that point, you know, you drop a tower, you wall up, and there's no way the trusher can break in. But you know, we don't really see trushing so much in DE, because towers were nerfed to hell. And so, along with trushing just becoming a relatively obsolete strategy, this build has became obsolete as well. That's a stuck villager. So I do not like the fact that he did this. Yeah, 22 up. You usually see like maybe 21 or something. But still, like 22 plus 12 was like one of the ways that people, I guess, kind of quote-unquote figured out the civilization in terms of like a build they do. But yeah, anyways, the reason why this is not a good build is because you're just robbed of so many resources when you get up to Castle Age compared to just doing a regular FC as Malay and just going up on a higher population. Like, I would much rather do like 32 plus 2 FC instead of like 22 plus 12 feudal boom with Ecotex as Malay. It's just objectively better. Because you have fairly similar resources kind of banked up. I mean, I've tested this myself. Doing either strategy, you wind up with roughly the same resources as you hit Castle Age, but you just have less banked up. And of course, a lot of your resources are actually just out on the field as farms. So if you FC as Malay on like 30 to like 32 plus 2 population, like you only need like a handful of farms, like maybe between like 6 to maybe like 8. Whereas if you're doing a feudal boom, you have to go all the way up to like, what is it, like something like, I think you have to be approaching like almost like between 16 and 20 or something. So it's just so much more investment you have to make. And the fact that you get Ecotex just a little bit earlier, it just does not make up for that. So yeah, just a piece of advice, guys. If you can get away with it, and you know that, and if you know that you're not really facing a guy who's very aggressive, just don't do this strategy as Malay. It's a waste. Meanwhile, very speedy Castle Age for Ian right now. Sorry, I was rambling on so long that I wasn't really paying attention to what Ian was doing. But sub 14-minute Castle Age into triple monasteries, so he's going to be going all in smush right here. Thing is, without the Castle Age line of sight for the scout, Roloko does not know what's going on here, but visually anyways. But he has to know that based on the uptime, there's going to be some kind of aggressive shenanigans going on right here. Ooh, the scout going to die? Yeah, it's going to die. He wasn't paying attention. He's too caught up with the boom. Yeah, I can see it being applicable on Hideout because, yeah, people are a lot more likely to be aggressive on Hideout, even though I think the meta overall on Hideout seems to be kind of a defensive boom game. There are definitely lots of people I've run into and I've seen on higher level who definitely go aggressive on Hideout. So anyways, Triple Monastery. The thing is, Malay is one of those civilizations you really should not be smushing, at least on paper. Generally, as a rule of thumb, civilizations that have really strong economies, you don't want to smush. And it's even worse if those strong eco-civilizations also have access to heresy, which Malay do. Although, to be fair, at this level, the vast majority of players I've seen typically don't go for heresy. Like, they either don't know it exists, or they just feel it's not worth the gold. Which, in some cases, it definitely isn't, but there are tons of cases where heresy is definitely worth grabbing. If you're in a full monk war, if it's like a bunch of monks supported by some army that would make it really difficult to engage those monks, like pikes, heresy is a nice tool there. If you're going for a ton of siege in late game, that would be very expensive for you to lose, like bombard cannons or siege engineers that just cost a lot to upgrade and to get out. You'd want heresy just to make sure the monks can't get like a 2-for-1 resource exchange there, because they get like 2 or 3 conversions on siege onagers or bombard cannons, and then you've lost so many resources. The monks have more than paid for themselves at that point. But very bad engagement here for IanG. So Bondiola, so Reloko was able to mass just enough army to be able to take out these first monks. And the thing about smushing is that it's all about the momentum, because monks produce pretty slowly, and they're fairly slow to upgrade as well. So if you lose that initial mass, it can be pretty hard to rebound from that. Unfortunately, it looks like Ian's operation is failing here. That's a lot of farms he's slamming down. 13 still on gold, though. He's just gonna keep powering on the monks, and hopefully Reloko does not slack on the military production, because he really needs to be able to fight this consistently. More conversions coming out. Oh, that's right. I remember I got Capture Age Pro for at least for the duration of this Silver League, so might as well make use of it here. Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Completely slipped my mind. So I think decent amount of conversions here for IanG. I think yeah, this is, judging by the amount of farms that he has put down at this relatively early, I'd say he's probably thinking about, at least off in the distant future, just making sure that he gets to Imperial Age. Imperial Age monks are definitely a lot better at dealing with just light cav than Castle Age monks are. You have to you can rely a lot less on the spearman protection, assuming the light cav aren't like critically massed. Narrowly avoiding that conversion there. Wouldn't have been able to afford all this like everything. I disagree. If you go up at like a really high population, like between 30 and 32, your resource income should be good enough that you should be able to spam light cav. You might have to delay your eco-techs a little bit, but I mean, it's kind of the similar story if you're going feudal boom, because you up to Castle Age so quickly, you don't really have the time to be able to bank up a lot of food. You might bank up like between like, I don't know, 250, between like 200 to 300 food. You do that for when you're FCing as well. So if you're producing a lot of light cav and you're producing a lot of scouts and you're getting light cav, you're just going to be delaying eco upgrades, period. So I don't know. I still just don't feel it's a good build to do. Ian going to be following up with some pressure here. Reloko's response is to wall up a little bit, but the problem is, it looks like a lot of his wall off is reliant on buildings. Just as a quick thing, I wasn't really paying attention. Did he get redemption? He does not have redemption yet. He's only operating on sanctity. It could be a little bit of a mistake, but at the same time, I don't think he really knows what don't think he really knows. Maybe he doesn't know what his opponent has. He's got some pressure going on here, but Roloko coming in with a nice defense. He's walled up, and he's got this castle coming up. Castle coming up for Ian as well, so... And he's going to be up to... Yeah, it's still going to be a while before I think Roloko can click up to Imperial Age himself, so he's going to be behind in the imp timing, even with the Malay's faster advance. Unless he just mass sells his wood right now. Then I think he might be able to catch up. I still think he might be a little bit later to Imperial Age than his opponent. Yeah, I mean, he's clicked up. Or he will be going. Okay, now there we go. Yeah, he's still going to be about a minute later to Imperial Age. And honestly, when you don't have map control and you just have this one defensive castle, that could make all the difference right now. So this castle will definitely be up by the time that Ian is into Imperial Age. He's going to get upgrades for his monks. Some Karambit warriors being produced for Roloko right now, but he needs... Thing is, you can't produce Karambit warriors and go Trebs at the same time. Something has to give. So he's just not going to have the army in order to be able to tackle this army of monks. Got some decent micro coming in from Ian here. I'm a firm believer that you really should know how to like control group and cycle through your control groups with monks if that's going to be your primary army. And yeah, you got pikeman switch here. That's going to be a nice defense. But unfortunately for Ian, I mean, Roloko's is stopping the light cav production in favor of all these Karambits. But he's gonna need a lot of Karambits though. And he can't afford to like produce anymore. He needs to get to the Treb War. So this is where things could get a little tricky for Roloko right here. He's behind in the Treb War. He has to produce his own Trebs. And with all these monks on the field, I mean, he could go chemistry, which he is, for bomber cannons. With all these monks on the field, I mean, he has to at least know that redemption monks is a possibility. And if you don't have like a ranged unit supporting your bomber cannons, then you basically everything's just going to get converted by block printing monks. So this is a really dangerous situation for Roloko to be in. He's got basically no army production going on anymore, because he's having to produce these Trebs. And he's not even sieging the castle. Just start repairing these Trebs and you'll never be able to take them down. Which Ian is not doing. You should be getting on those repairs immediately. Get on the repairs, man. You're gonna lose a Treb. Ah, my god. You have villagers right there, man. 2 tiles away. Just repair the Trebs. I guess young upgrade. Do you know Ian well? I mean, if you do, maybe if you can tell me whether he's like a really aggressive player or not. Alright, now he's doing the repairs, but there's a lot of Karambits coming in. Really good micro here coming in for IanG. He's going to grab a lot of conversions. One Treb goes down. I'm not sure he's going to be able to take down the second Treb, though. Oh my god. But nice shots coming in from the Trebs. If he doesn't get the repair on going right now, he's going to lose that Treb, and that castle's going to stay up, and nah. That last volley he got up was able to take that Treb down, was able to take that castle down. But now Ian's own castle is under threat by the 2 Trebs that Roloko still has left. A lot of Karambits for him now. Roloko desperately trying to wall up here, but he will fail to do so. There's one gap. There's a few gaps here in the walls. Aim at the... Okay, he's going for the bombard cannons first. I think... I don't like that decision just because... Well, actually... He hasn't gotten a redemption on these monks yet, I believe, so actually that might not be a bad call. So he's targeting the bomber cannons first, going after Trebs, and yeah, he calls the GG. Roloko calls the GG. So I think I think he was in a tough situation any way you slice it. But I think if he had maybe... I don't know, if he had grabbed Heresy, I think I still don't think that would have won in the game just because he was fighting underneath the castle. And Karambits are just, they're so fragile, they'll just drop like flies to arrow fire, especially without upgrades. But I at least think it might have bought him a bit more time. Maybe switch to a different army in the back, because I mean, he has a lot of wood, a fair amount of other resources. So like, if he did some kind of switch in the back for like, I don't know, skirms, arbalest or something, and he had heresy, I think he might have still been able to push this back. Painfully, but I still think he would have had a decent shot at pulling that back, pushing it back. But unfortunately, that just didn't happen. And unfortunately, he has to call the GG. It's a very nice gameplay for IanG. He has some really solid monk micro. Yeah. I wonder if just YOLO smushing is going to carry into victory in this game, this series. We'll have to see. Because he did pick a fair amount of monk civs. So you have a victory with Saracens, defeat with Malay. Still has Bohemians, a very good smushing civ. In fact, arguably the best smushing civ in the game right now. Maybe alongside Aztecs, but they're definitely very equal in my mind. Portuguese can play Monk Rush, but although you definitely see them playing more like organ guns into like some kind of Fastem Feitoria nonsense. Byzantines can also play Monk Rush very well. That cheap Imperial Age can also mean you can up very quickly for block printing, illumination, theocracy, all those key upgrades. Just make your Monk Rush that much scarier. Yeah. Double Castle organ guns. Yeah, I mean, so if... okay, so he's a fairly aggressive player, so... I mean, if what you're telling me, Young, is true, then I guess maybe we'll see Portuguese next. Portuguese into maybe Italians, I'd say. That could be a fun matchup. The two OG Mediterranean architecture set civilizations going at each other. And they're both very good on Arena, especially this Clown Arena. Italians, I think, had a very nice positive win rate in the main stage for Masters of Arena 6. I think they have everything going for them. I mean, their eco isn't amazing, but their timing with everything is nice. Fast castle timing, fast imp timing. The cheaper Egypts is nice. Unique unit is situationally pretty powerful, especially against like civs that might be going for cavalry, like Genoese crossbowmen plus a Tsar plus cheap bombard cannon. It's a pretty difficult army to stop if you don't have like siege onagers at your disposal. Yeah. So my money would be on that. But if I could make a secondary bet, maybe you'll go Bohemians and do another like a YOLO smush. That is unless maybe he runs into Mayans, because I don't think you don't want to be smushing Mesos. Definitely. Well, let's find out. I died to him when he did that because I thought he was going fast to him until the last time. Well, how late was it? Was it like 16 minutes? Alright, because a double castle build can be done on like 28 plus 2 population, but that can only happen, especially with like a generic eco-civilization, if you start with a mill first rather than a lumber camp. If people are just doing the traditional, like a lumber camp start first, then yeah, you have to go up on 30 plus 2 pop. So, I'd say, if you know, if you're facing someone who knows how to like do the optimized builds, uptime when doing a strategy like that, like double castle stuff, is not going to be the most, is not going to be the best indicator. Okay. It's good knowing that, I mean, if Ian were to go through and I were to meet him at like a later stage, it's good knowing that, it's nice knowing that he plays this aggressively, and I'll just let him have a bunch of unique unit civilizations so he can like do double castle builds with them, and I'll just like, just do something really aggressive like siege tower crossbows and just kill him before he ever gets the castles up. That's a build I've definitely worked on and even made a build order video on, so it'd be very nice to actually apply that. Turkgen. Yeah, Turks and Koreans are pretty unique unit heavy civilizations, especially nowadays. Although I really don't feel that Koreans should be played that way, because war wagons, I think, are just I think they're just a little too easy to stop for a lot of civilizations. Like a double monastery defense, or like a fast stint monks, I think should just completely destroy a war wagon play, because the unit's really like bulky and slow and clunky to use, and their range is so short that if you're facing monks, then you're gonna be lucky if he doesn't grab like a ton of conversions. So yeah, it's just something I would never risk doing. But Turks with Janissary aggression, that's totally legit. In fact, it's so dangerous that Turks is probably going to be one of the civs I just flat out ban. It's going to be one of my 2 bans, I think, in almost every set that I play in the Silver League, which I already did versus Uselessaurus Rex on Monday. Like, Turks was my very first ban. Yeah, monks plus trash, that can be pretty strong versus Koreans. Like, whether you're going Skirm or like Halb, it's just a very damaging unit to the war wagon, while the monks in the back are just trying to convert them and deal with them that way. Like, I think like Halb plus monk could be actually pretty devastating for like a war wagon player, because like the Halbs will completely shred the war wagons if you don't micro away from them. And as the war wagons are trying to micro away from them, the monks, which have like a huge range advantage over the wagons, can just convert from up top, and they're just forced to run away. And then once they've lost all map control, maybe you can follow up with like either Trebs or BBC and just destroy their base at that point, and they can't engage you anymore. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I'm really new to Twitch, so I don't believe I have like no like links like that stuff set up. So for the time being, I guess I'll just have to show the draft there. Yeah, I started streaming like on Monday, literally. I had like one stream before that when I casted literally one set from the Masters of Arena 6 qualifiers, and I basically did not come back until last Monday. So, if I can get some pointers maybe to set that stuff up, that would be much appreciated. I could post the link. I think I'll just type it in because I don't feel like putting up my my stream on my browser. Hopefully everything's spelled correctly. Alright, well, in any case, we got the second game going. Mayans versus Bohemians. So Ian really wanted to do some kind of, really wanted to do more monk shenanigans. But I guess the question now is he crazy enough to smush a Mesosiv? Because, yeah, in addition to like the strong eco civs I was talking about that you don't want to be smushing, that you don't want to be smushing, Mesos are, so Incas, Aztecs, Mayans are also civilizations you don't want to be smushing. Because eagles are so easy to produce, just like minimal food eco and just a bunch of gold eco. And all 3 civilizations have heresy, and yeah, and there's like no effective cheap counter to eagle warriors. Like, you can't just make pikes and just expect to be able to defend your monks against eagle warriors. just doesn't work like that. Yeah, very likely. I think it's yeah, I think it might. So if you're based on what you're telling me, what he did with the Portuguese double castle organ guns, he's gonna be going double castle war wagons. It's gonna be interesting because Hussite wagons are really tough to stop, especially if your civ does not have redemption, which mines don't have. The only Meso civ that doesn't get redemption. So he needs a different approach to defense. If I knew, I'd say my approach would be if I knew that my opponent was going to be playing like this. I mean, I technically don't even need to know my opponent because it seems like this is just what everyone's been doing with Bohemians. Because because everyone's like, oh my god, Hussite wagons are the best thing ever. So I mean, I think if I were in this situation where I'm a no redemption civ against a civ that might pull this, I think I might just go my own double castles for defense. Possibly some army. If I were Mayans here, I mean, the double castle and like just producing plumes, possibly. Maybe quick ballistics or something. I think could be useful. Although then again, I'll actually scratch that. Forget the plumes because Hussite wagons have 7 pierce armor in Castle Age. So even if you do out micro Hussite wagons, you do basically no damage to them with plumes. So yeah, it's a massive waste. So just the double castle defense, boom behind, and then just get to Imperial Age. Maybe get to Eagles, and just flatten all the wagons. Yeah, I just corrected myself because for a second I just forgot about the wagon stats. Then I remember the stats, and I'm like, yeah, plumes are not going to do anything versus 7 pierce armor units. Well, Hussite wagons are siege weapons, right? And, that's what I'm saying, like, if you boomed behind, like, a castle defense, and you got to Elite Eagle Warriors, then, the Elite Eagle Warriors do a lot of damage. And they're very, very fast, so they can close the distance with the Hussite wagons, and they can just completely get destroyed. So I'm pretty sure Eagles should be able to work fine. Like, maybe Castle Age Eagles could be a bit suspect, but I think Imperial Age, like, the Elite Eagle Warriors, I think should definitely deal with them pretty nicely. But I guess the danger there is if the Bohemian were to, like, stay in Castle Age and build up his own economy to be able to get, like, Castle Age hand cannons out. So, at that point, really, it just turns into a game of counters, let's say. And that's just how this game... That's just the beauty of Age of Empires. Just a game of countering and balance. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I will definitely hugely favor Bohemians here. I mean, just because... I think currently they might be the best arena civ, or at the very least, like, top 3. Like, definitely somewhere around there. Mines is somewhere definitely in the bottom half, in my opinion. Or even bottom third. Gone are the days when Mayans are a good arena civilization because 1TC, YOLO, low eco, plume aggression is a dead strategy. Like, not only is the Mayans eco a lot weaker compared to on Vubli with all the nerfs they had, plumes are also significantly more expensive. So it's like a double whammy for Mayans there. But anyways, let's talk about, I guess, going in reverse. First talking about the Civ matchup, and now I'm talking about the maps, whereas last game I did the reverse. Once again, a decent map for Reloco here. This time backstone, back secondary gold. Everything else is forward, though. This main gold can be a little problematic, although I'd say if you're doing some kind of castle defense, you can place it there and that gold can be pretty secure for a while. Ian here, on the other hand, yeah, not the nicest map. In fact, it almost looks like a mirrored map, just for resources. What he had last game. Bad main minerals, bad stones, bad main gold, bad secondary gold, but one of his secondary golds is safe in the back. But if he's being the aggressor, which you're telling me that's likely going to be the case, young upgrade, it looks like a worse map is not going to really matter. So I'm really excited to see how he's going to be doing aggression. And sure enough, yeah, he's going to be doing some unique unit shenanigans. He's already setting 2 to stone when he's only about 22 pop. When he's only about 22 pop. Typically, you'd be going there, I think, at least a couple pop later, sending even another villager to stone. So yeah, I think if you're doing a double castle... It's been a long time since I've seen or even done a double castle build. I believe you're supposed to have something like 5 villagers taking stone in Dark Age. And then the 2 villagers you make in Feudal Age also go to stone. And I think maybe you transfer like 2 to 3 more onto stone. Like 9 to 10 total. Of course, being Bohemians with the free stone mining upgrade, I think you can get away with a bit less. Maybe like instead of 9 or 10, maybe it's like you can get away with like one less, like 1 fewer, like maybe 8 or 9. We'll see. So Feudal Age coming in. Oh. It's not going to be... So, he's up to Feudal Age on 25 pop. So this would imply it's just going to be a very fast 1 castle unique unit play. And it looks like it's going to be done from home, because he doesn't have 3 on gold. You would have 3 on gold if you wanted to go 4, that way you can produce 1 villager in Feudal Age and then also grab Loom and still be able to click up on time. Games quite meta when I play them. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I mean... Typically, I think that's how most players behave. It's like they... Especially at this level, I'm sure they're like adaptable and they know enough strategies to be able to kind of pivot when they need to, go aggressive when they want to, or when they need to, play more passively when they need to. And, interesting placement for his upbuildings. Almost blocking his wood line. But, whatever. This is a very nice, clean build from him. I mean, it's not how I would approach... It's not how I would be doing the 25+2 castle drop build, but this is definitely one way you can do it. It's just, I prefer doing a mill start first, but this way is also perfectly viable. In fact, it honestly might be smoother as well. Reloko is now up to... Oh, sorry. Can't believe I keep forgetting. So I was checking the tech tree and just never got back to it. Just fire up Capture Age again. So we got what's looking to be 26+2 FC for Reloko. I like this decision. Well, he's going for the defensive. He's going to be going for a defensive castle because he's got to know this something like this is coming. But the problem is, if you're facing just an all-in unique unit aggression like this, from your opponent like this, and your base is like this wide at the front, I don't feel that 1 castle is enough. Like if you place it here, it can only cover 1 flank, and it can go outside, pressure you from the other side. And like sure you can wall up and stuff, but I mean just in my experience, if someone's really committed, like 1 or 2 layers of walls won't stop them. Like either they add siege, or they just mess up so much of the unique unit that they can just blow through the walls in like a few volleys. So, I think you can do this, but definitely can start on 1 castle, but make sure you keep these villagers on stone after you build that first castle. So that if he's pressuring you from the other side, you can build that second castle and protect yourself there. So, we'll see. Ian up to Castle Age, he instantly drops his castle. I personally would have liked to see it maybe a little bit more centered here, and maybe possibly a little bit more forward. Not so forward that I think Reloko would be able to like scout it out, but like maybe just a couple tiles more forward and just more in the center, just so he can cover the stone and the gold. Here the gold's covered, but not really the stone. So just a little nitpick, but again, he's being the aggressor, so I don't think it's going to be mattering all too much. Defensive castle coming in for Roloko here. He's going to be covering the left side first. Makes sense since that's where his critical resources are. He needs to be able to protect that gold. So far, solid overall decision making. Solid overall, like a defensive play. But again, he just needs to be mindful of this side. Thing is, when Ian comes, if he were to start pressuring on this side, he's going to see the castle is up. He's just going to immediately back off, and he's going to come over here. So, you know, Roloko really needs to be careful here. Hussite wagon production happening. Bowsaw is in, so actually, I thought with a build like this, he would actually be having to skip out on Bowsaw, but no, that's not the case. So he will have a reasonably good economy for just pumping out these Hussite wagons. He's also going to be building a monastery, so it's not quite as like all in just in the UU department that I thought. It's like he's also going to be trying to grab some relics. So we got both players going for some unique units right here. No upgrades on these plumes. Hopefully that changes. Well, actually, yeah, like I said before, Hussite wagons have so much pierce armor, I honestly might not even make a difference. Upgrades on the plumes might only matter for just sniping the monks, which I would assume that Ian would be making in the not too distant future. Roloko building his own monastery. It's going to be trying to grab some of his own relics. One monk's out. One monk for Ian as well. Oops. Okay. Got a decent number of Hussite wagons going out. 9 at the moment. This eagle barely getting away with its life right now. These plumes are unfortunately not going to be able to do anything. So what side is he going to be pressuring first? I don't believe that Ian actually saw where the plumes. I think he will now. Yeah, he sees the plumes now, so he definitely knows his opponent now is going to be doing some kind of like castle and unique unit stuff. That means he has a castle somewhere. I don't think he knows where it is yet. And I am so new to Capture Age. Does anyone know how to like switch perspectives on here? Because I mean, I know based on this little eye icon that controls the Fog of War, I'm on Roloko's perspective. I'm not sure how to switch perspectives here. So yeah, these Hussite wagons just wreaking havoc here. Oh my god, he's taking a bad engagement with these plumes. 4 plumes versus 4 Hussite wagons. That is not a good ratio. Especially when the unit you're facing has 7 pierce armor. Control 1 to 9. Change perspective. Like any of those keys? It's oh, I see. So 1 being blue, 6. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. So yeah, it would have been nice to know that the vision that he had just like a couple minutes ago. But yeah, he definitely knows the castle's there. This is kind of what I was talking about. The castle's there, he's gonna see that very quickly. So he's gonna forget about pressuring here, he's gonna instantly go over here and start pressuring this side. So hopefully he's building that second castle. Oh my god. He just completely stopped taking stone. And so unfortunately for him, he's gonna be basically unprotected on this side. Desperation Eagle switch coming in for Roloko here, but I don't know. I feel like Castle Age Eagles are just not going to be strong enough I think they need to be like elite Eagle Warriors for you to take a good engagement here. But then again, I haven't really seen the matchup yet. Just like Castle Age Eagles against mass Hussite wagons. So I don't know. Curious. It's just, he got on this so late. So I'm not sure he's ever going to be able to mass enough to be able to take out this massive Hussite wagons. So this is what I was talking about. Someone who's very committed to this unique unit aggression, he's not going to care about one layer of walls. He has so much of the unique unit that he's just going to blow through this monastery in like a few volleys. It's already half dead. How is he going to survive this? Oh, sorry. Speaking of which, Ian won the first game. And if things keep going at this rate, where he doesn't have a defense on this side, it's gonna be easy victory for Ian here. So yeah, he's only just starting to produce eagles. This is just not quick enough. For him to have any chance of engaging this, he already needed to have like 30 eagles like massed up right now. He will never ever clear this up. Wagenburg tactics coming in, so these Hussite wagons are going to be even harder for these eagles to deal with because they can retreat back faster. Yeah, chill under the TC, and that's what people were doing with war wagons, because they have so much pierce armor. And take a look at Hussite wagons, they have even more pierce armor than those war wagons, and even more HP. They'll just sit underneath the TC, idle this entire economy, and just kill Roloko. So yeah, barracks are going down now. So yeah, this is... So what went wrong here? Once again, it's just Roloko having the right idea. The castle defense, I think, was nice. It's just, you needed to either have enough on stone at the start to do your own double castle build, but this just for defense. Or just have the first castle down, like, first, and just stay on stone so that you can build a second one here when your opponent inevitably pressures you from this angle. And he didn't do that. He just completely abandoned his stone, and now he's paying the price. He had no defense on this side. He's most likely going to lose this TC. He will never have enough military to be able to fight this number of Hussite wagons. And yeah, he's just going to die. It's not like he even has like a good Imperial Age advantage either. Because Ian was only behind, like, what was that, 30 seconds? Maybe if that? He's going to lose this castle. He's going to lose all his military. He's going to lose all his buildings. And he's going to lose all his villagers. His whole eco. So yeah, this is going to be 2-0. A very convincing 2-0 for Ian right here. I think it's fair to say that he just has a lot more... Just judging by his... Like, the cleanness of, like, his builds and, like, just how well he's able to go all in with, like, his builds and his strategies. I'd say he's definitely a lot more comfortable on Arena compared to Roloko here. And he calls the GG. More Hussite wagons than Eagle Warriors. That's a very bad sign that you are losing that game. GG Ian. I would love to face a player like this later in the later stages. Just because I think he would definitely give me a good run for my money. I cast and defend with a few mangonels on the other behind walls. Oh, that's definitely another option. I think maybe a little nicer on your eco because you have more mangonels have a bit more range than the Hussite wagons do. So if you have like a wall off here, you can just park the like 2-3 mangonels behind it, and every time he tries to take down the buildings, you can probably just shoot with the mangonels, and they do a lot of damage to the Hussite wagons. But being gunpowder units, Hussite wagons also do a ton of damage to those mangonels themselves, so you need to have like good micro to like, you need to fire and then pull back instantly with the mangonels. Otherwise, you're going to lose them.
Grayton?
So I'd say maybe just the double castle defense would have just been the safer play. Like double castle defense into like maybe even just like 2 TC, like a just boom to like Imperial Age and just get like Elite Eagle Warrior out. Like you don't even, considering you're facing gunpowder and they deal so much damage, you don't even have to really worry about like defense upgrades all that much. Just get enough eco to be able to get Elite Eagle Warrior out, and then you can dedicate most of your economy to like gold or something to be able to pump out a lot of Elite Eagle Warriors. and then just charge the wagons and just clear them all out. And if you can get away with it, since if you still have those castles up, then you can make Trebs blow down the castle. Or even better yet, I mean, if you have all those Eagle Warriors, you can make a siege workshop, make a siege tower, and maybe like hop your opponent. That's like a nightmare. Like elite Eagle Warriors in your eco. It's like a complete nightmare situation. So like that would be like probably the way I would approach it if I were in this matchup. But fortunately, that's not how it went for Roloko, and he unfortunately lost, and pretty convincing 2-0 for Ian. Well, that's the end of that set. I don't believe any more mini clown sets are happening today, if memory serves right. It doesn't hurt to check again, I guess. Ah, not there. Mini clown. So, Favor Forever and Oladushek already had their set this morning. I was basically kind of still asleep when that was happening, so couldn't get to that. Dexter and Zizo had their set yesterday. I mean, it happened it wasn't late for me being up, but it was kind of late for me to start streaming, so didn't get to that either. Already played against Ian. I'm assuming if you guys don't care about spoilers. Yeah, it says that Zizo won 2-1. I mean, I could try casting like Rex if you guys want for the for Oladushek versus Favor Forever. If you guys want. I mean, I wanted to cast as many of the sets as I could live, but I mean, I do feel that maybe I can make an exception right now because I feel that set was quite a bit shorter than I was anticipating. Oladushek probably would have dominated, right? I believe he's seed number 1, so I think he definitely would be favored. But the thing is, the seeding can be very misleading in this tournament because not everyone that signed up is like a how to say, like a habitual arena player. They're like a lot of the like higher seats, like between 1 to 10, I think were like mostly like open map players, like Arabia players, who I think might have played a couple of arena games here and there. So I think the seeding is a bit misleading, and I wouldn't rely on it solely. I wouldn't just rely on the seeding only on the seeding just to rely on like thinking about who's gonna win like versus who in a matchup. Oladushek beat me on arena with Molly, and so I was going Britons. Yeah, so I think so. What I said definitely doesn't apply to everyone there. So I think I did actually look at Oladushek's records, and he does actually play a good amount of arena. So I think definitely, at least he is definitely among the top 10 seeds that actually does play a decent amount of arena. So yeah, he could honestly be a favorite to win the tournament. And I'm hoping I can get far enough to where I might be able to face him, because I did sneak a glance at his stream at a couple of the games, and his gameplay seemed pretty nice. I mean, he had a bit of mix of everything going on. He did a bit of aggression here. He did some defense into like booming into just so yeah, he seems like a pretty well-rounded player for arena. Nice. That's approaching my best game for monks. I got 114 conversions of Spanish. It was back on Voobly against a good friend of mine. It's a Spanish versus Persians game. I was just going to town on him with conversions. Oladushek beat me on Marino with Molly, as well as Britons. Yeah, in the professional arena community, people would probably say that Britain's is like a civ win versus almost anything nowadays. But I think like Malians could definitely be a wild card for them because in general, I feel that Britons don't want to be facing any civilization that has like really good high pierce armor options. And, like Malians have that with the champ scarls. So if they're just playing like without thinking, and they're just going like archer opening, and they just go straight into like champ scarls, like Britons just instantly lose there. And that just goes for a lot of high pierce armor stuff in general. Like if they went arbalest or like longbowmen into like something that was high pierce armor, and yeah, Britons will just instantly feel like a bottom tier civilization there because they will just get run over. See, I'm not sure what to do. So I'm not sure what to do. Like like I said, I could cast that set if you guys want. Just because I have a bit of time on my hands. But you guys will have to bear with me for just like a minute or so while I do actually download those recs, though. If not, I guess I could call it here. And yeah, I guess that can be the end of that. And it would be nice. I guess it would be nice if I ended it here, just because I would have like a bit of a shorter stream in order to be able to upload to YouTube, and just having like one set there, I think would definitely help that. Close that. Yeah, I think I'll just call it here, guys. And until the next set that's going on, I think is actually was on Sunday, I believe. I think it was either tomorrow. I think it was Sunday with Chirrus. Chirrus is an acquaintance of mine back from Vubli. We played quite a bit of arena back then. He was a pretty good player. In fact, I think he would win most games that we played against each other. Although I definitely did take some games, but I don't believe I'm gonna be. I think I might be able to cast that, but then again, I think I have other stuff happening that day, so we'll see. So until then, guys, I guess I'll see you. Thanks for coming, guys.